edition of the Boob Tube Buddies podcast, the third episode of our marathon podcasting session of Netflix's Luke Cage, entitled Who's Gonna Take the Weight? To get in on the conversation, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Reddit. Just search Boob Tube Buddies. We're going to be live tweeting the marathon throughout the whole day, so just definitely make sure to check us out on Twitter. And you can email us at boobtubebuddies@gmail.com. And last thing, please rate us on iTunes. It's the #1 way you can support our show. We'd really appreciate it. What's going on, Mothman?
Oh, not a whole lot. We are into our, 6th hour or something like that?
Oh my god, yeah. Freaking zombieing out over here.
Yeah, I just brought up to him a skit he hasn't seen, but if anyone out there has seen the Portlandia skit where they binge Battlestar Galactica and he loses his job, I think we might feel like that by the end of it.
Yeah.
But
I was just
luckily,
telling Mathis it's time for a cup of coffee number, 7 of the day?
So we're going to do a fresh pot after this. But the good news is that Luke Cage is still engaging. So
yeah, it's awesome. I'm really digging it so far.
I will say, I can dig it. Waka, waka, waka.
I can dig it.
I think this episode's my least favorite so far, though.
Least favorite?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
We've only watched 3 of 13.
Yeah.
And it's not bad, but this episode definitely feels like more of plot exposition, more of the stuff kind of happening. And there are some kind of significant scenes later on. But it was really front-loaded. The end of it had really the important stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the end really rushed towards all the action. The part of him at the Crispus Attucks building, obviously the thing that happens at the end, the very end of the episode. But yeah, the first part of the episode, I guess.
Well, so the very first scene, which has gunshots and commotion and a couch flying out of the window, and then you see him leave with a bag of money. You're immediately, it's kind of like that last scene from the last episode. They start with it and they end, and then they just forget about it till almost halfway towards the episode.
Yeah.
But immediately I was actually kind of excited because I'm like, all right, we got some superheroing going on here. Like any superhero, you wait for a significant family member to die, and then you're ready to be a superhero.
Yeah.
But they make you wait to kind of really get there later in the episode.
Yeah, they do. But at least this time, I felt like that was going to be their pattern here. So when they showed the thing at the beginning and they only gave you a teaser of the action, where there's gunfire, people come running out, a couch or something comes flying out of the window, and then he comes out with the duffel bag. At the very least, after this one, I was like, okay, can't wait to see that at the end of the episode.
Sure.
Because, they're bookending them with these scenes right now. So since I knew that was going to be the case, it actually was pretty cool because I wanted to see, what's the whole thing.
And it was a sweet scene.
So. It was really sweet, yeah.
But other than that, I think what we really get in the beginning is a lot of news footage talking about the barbershop being shot up and Pop's passing. And it becomes very clear that he's a beloved member of the community, not just to the characters we've met, but just the community at large. You even see a shrine to him out front with lots of flowers and candles and things people have put there. So it's obvious his impact is there. We even learn eventually, Misty gives us some background on how they knew each other. We knew there was a connection, but we didn't really know what it was.
Yeah, she talks about it later on in the episode with, what's his name, Sergeant Scarf or Detective Scarf?
Yeah, Detective Scarf.
Yeah, she talks about it with him about her dad and Pops used to sit around talking about the Celtics and he can't believe that they were Celtics fans, but they're talking about how sick in the paint they were and all that.
Well, yeah, she's kind of talking about how the reason she played basketball was because of Pop, and all it was is that she never got her haircut there. She would go in, her father would get his haircut, and her father and Pops would just argue about basketball.
Yeah.
And she would hear them complain about a bunch of stuff I don't understand, but someone not being able to return to D, whatever that means, or go left or go right.
Return to D.
Yeah, which I assume search for dick, which I think is inappropriate to be talking around a kid for, but maybe it's coded. But then she essentially says, that's why I started playing basketball. I wanted to be that player that they couldn't, complain about, which is kind of sweet.
Because she couldn't wait to get back to the D.
She could not wait to get back to the D, which then comes up because Detective Scarf starts inquiring about what is going on with Luke Cage.
Yeah,
just how early.
A little quick with him, huh?
And he asks when, and I think she says, "Oh, maybe the first night." And he goes, "Damn, girl!"
Yeah.
And that's when you realize it almost seemed disingenuous at first, but the more he talks, the more you realize that Detective Scarf is just a like sassy black girl trapped inside of the body.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny because towards the end, Cottonmouth calls him Virginia Slim, and then explains he calls him that because he's a slim white bitch.
Yeah, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, I almost fed into what you were saying.
I almost feel like, and I never saw this movie because it looked terrible, but the movie White Chicks, I feel like there might be.
Oh my god, it looks. So
there might be a weigh-ins inside of him acting like a black girl.
That's funny. Anyway. Good job, man. Okay, so yeah, you're right. There's just a couple little things like that, but then Luke Cage goes and talks to Cottonmouth and like basically telling him like, you know, it's on you what happened. And Cottonmouth kind of explains, he's like, you know, one of my associates was feeling himself, but he's out of the picture now. And Luke Cage is like, man, I'm just getting started with you. And Cottonmouth says, good luck with the job search, dishwasher.
Yeah, and just real stupid, you know, condescending and douchey.
What a dick.
Yeah, he's the worst. Other than that, we have the detectives also towards the beginning inquiring to Chico. So Chico's definitely alive. He's not only alive, he's talking and like
in the hospital.
Has his wits. It's not like he's on life support or anything.
But he's refusing to like give up any information. He's like, you know, the streets will take care of it like they always do, and then they uncuff him and they're like, fine, like the streets are gonna take care of you too.
Which he didn't feel too great about.
No, he doesn't.
And then at some point Luke Cage goes and visits him at the hospital
right afterwards. Yeah, and actually that's what leads into the scene with Detective Scarf saying to Misty Knight the thing afterwards about like, God, how quickly did you guys get into it?
Yeah,
because they run into each other leaving Chico's room.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so Luke Cage goes and talks to Chico, you know, basically telling him he has blood in his hands. Like, don't pretend you're innocent just because you didn't kill Dante, just because you didn't orchestrate the plan. You perpetrated it, to which Chico says, well, yeah, but it's really Cottonmouth's fault, which, you know, he has a point, but actually Cottonmouth didn't order the hit at all. But ultimately, none of this would have happened if they didn't try to get involved in this either. So he obviously feels guilt. Luke wants to know what's going on so that he can, like, put a stop to it.
Yeah, and Chico kind of gives him the whole rundown of like, what's the flow of cash within Cottonmouth's organization? Like, where does it come from? Where does it go? Where does it come from? Cottonmouth Joe. Pretty good, right?
I wasn't sure if you're going there. I was like, wait, it's too coincidental. He's definitely saying it. Oh man, I feel like you can only follow that with a Scatman reference. I'm the Scatman. Oh god, good times.
Yes, very
some
good.
really great hits back in the day. Anyway,
so, yeah, he does. He walks him through the whole thing and basically tells him like it all ends up at the Crispus Attucks building. Like they got that place locked down.
It's like a
Fort
beehive
Knox.
Of torture.
Beehive of misery. I think.
Yeah, some lame reference. But yeah. And so now you're thinking, oh, well, we saw Luke go into that. That's when we're gonna get some fun later. But then Luke leaves. He passes Misty in the hallway. You know, there's a little bit of sexual tension. He says maybe next time we get together, you'll bring the handcuffs. Yeah, to which Scarf is just, you know, snapping.
I'm happy he didn't.
Yeah, exactly. You can see it in his eyes.
The scene after that is the one where Cottonmouth is standing over Pop's dead body on one side, Tones on the other side at the morgue, and he gives a guy money and is like, this body can't exist, and the guy's like, what body? And Cottonmouth channels his best Denzel and says, my man.
Yeah, it was pretty, I mean, fine.
A little cheesy.
Yeah, but you know, that's how deals are made, right?
Yeah, I guess that is. But so anyway, so Luke starts knocking over all these different stash houses so that they will have to take the money from the remaining stash houses and just kind of put it into Fort Knox because they feel like, and there is that one scene where Cottonmouth is talking to the councilwoman and he's like, we got to put the money in here because listen, there's one entrance in, one entrance out. Like it's the most defensible building. Like I understand like that you don't want to have all this going on right in your office, but this is the building to do it in. So
yeah, the Beehive of Misery is the most secure place.
Yeah.
So I decided like, and this I'm sure is Luke's plan the whole time, get him to just move all the money into one easy to take out place.
Absolutely. That is definitely the reason why he's knocking over some of those places.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were just being quiet because of the space shuttle that sounds like it's launching off from your front yard right
I don't
now.
live too far from an airport, everybody.
Yeah. God, it sounds like they're taking off down your driveway.
Yeah. And you think the cops will come soon, too, because that's always nice and loud from here.
Yeah, exactly.
Full disclosure, through this episode, I was live tweeting, but also writing the game for next episode, so... I'm heavily relying on your notes right
now. No wonder you didn't like the episode. I did look over a lot, and you were really busy, like doing this. And I'm not taking anything away from you because you were working way harder than I was throughout the whole thing. But I kept thinking, like, oh, the poor guy, like, is probably barely enjoying the episode because he's working so hard to promote like all the upcoming ones.
My God, hashtags, man.
Oh,
it's hard to work through.
Oh my God, fuck you, social media.
Yeah,
you fucking dominatrix.
At some point, you mentioned Periscope, to which I think we just immediately forgot about it. Like, that's so much work.
Yeah, no, please.
We were gonna live Facebook and everything, but maybe the last one.
I guess so. By that point, I'm gonna be so frazzled. The last thing I'm gonna want is video evidence of how gross I'm gonna look and so greasy.
I feel like if we do it at the last one, it's going to be a little bit like the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, super shaky. Yeah. Just like we both like disheveled.
Please help, please. Just like slobber coming. Yeah. Anyway, so where are we?
Okay, so Domingo, you remember who is the other gangster, mainly from episode 1,
and he's got a sweet tooth.
Yes, he does. Yeah, sitting there. Apparently, he is a shill for Milky Way because he is like crinkling those wrappers right in front of the camera, like the.
Yeah, and then throwing them to the ground,
and then the camera goes down, zooms in on the Milky Way, and then shows him smiling like it's a Mentos commercial with the little Milky Way.
But then on top of it, he asks someone to pick it up.
He does, yeah. But he is likening Cottonmouth to a plover, which is a type of bird that basically, it doesn't live, but it goes to a crocodile or an alligator and sits in its mouth and cleans out in between its teeth, so it gets fed, but it's also... So he was saying, like, I'm the alligator, you're the plover.
Symbiotic relationship.
Exactly. And then, Cottonmouth's just sitting there smiling, like, where is this going? Come on, man, get to it. And then, so finally Domingo's like, I want my money back from that, from that deal gone wrong. And then Cottonmouth's like, this isn't LL Bean. Like, you don't get refunds here, motherfucker. Like, that's the cost of doing this type of business. Like, that just happens. And Domingo says some stuff in Spanish, and then basically Cottonmouth turns to his little buddy, and he's like, that means we're going to war, basically.
Yeah, so that was an important part. I mean, not the most exciting part, but essentially, that's going to play heavily into it.
Well, I mean, I really like Milky Way, so it was exciting for me.
But essentially, that not only is he now fighting a war against Luke Cage, he's fighting a second war, so shit's not going to be very fun for Cottonmouth going forward. And he's not, I think, in the best frame of mind. He just lost, like, his childhood, like, buddy, which...
True.
He's not letting on is affecting him, but we've seen him cry alone in a room. I will say, of all the things you could reference, why LL Bean? I don't think I've ever seen a single LL Bean store.
For sure, LL Bean has to be sponsoring something here, right? Like that's the only way that made sense, right?
And the only reason I got it is I don't know where these came from, but I had a pair of sweatpants when I was like 14 that were LL Bean.
When I was growing up, we'd vacation in North Carolina, and my dad was really big into getting all this fly fishing gear for a trip one summer. And so we got the LL Bean brochure or whatever, and we ordered like the big tall boots that you go.
Oh, LL Bean's like an outdoorsman thing?
Yeah, I guess so. So we got it for like fly fishing gear and stuff like that. So that's the only thing I think when they said LL Bean.
This podcast is brought to you by two guys that don't quite know what LL Bean is, but don't mind referencing it.
Much more comfortable talking about Milky Way bars.
Yeah. That's something we can relate to.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
Oh my goodness. It's funny. Okay, so actually, this might be a good time if you want to cut to the Audible ad.
Ooh, absolutely. I think we have another number one hit song.
Oh, yeah. This one's about my man Mothman.
Oh, you know
my
it.
Man.
All right, we'll be right back.
Well, we're the Boob Tube Buddies, yeah, we're all friends. We're gonna talk about TV up till the end of night or day. It doesn't matter at all. We're a podcast, baby, so we're on call. Facebook.com/Boob Tube Buddies.
All right. Nice song, buddy. Very good. Very good.
Thank you. I try.
Much better production quality than mine.
Yeah, but now that you have a nice mic and know how to use it, you'll get there.
Really, the problem is that I have no way of plugging in any instruments into my computer. I guess actually you did give me that thing, but I don't have an electric guitar. I only have like a really like garage sale style acoustic guitar.
Gotcha. Well, the one thing, because I didn't use electric on that, is just to record the guitar, then go back in Audacity and do the vocals.
Oh, well, what about like bass and stuff like that?
Well, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, did you plug in for it?
Huh? I don't have a bass in that song.
Oh, you don't?
No, it's just acoustic and then like 3 vocals.
Wow, that is pretty fancy, dude.
Yeah, you know.
Man, audio engineer over here. It's almost like you got a degree in music.
It might be.
Very recently.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, so actually let's go ahead and hop into a quick game. I got one written up.
Okay.
Ooh, oh my gosh. Okay, so this one is entitled Despite All My Rage.
No, it's amazing.
What?
Oh God. I was, for a while, because I had like 3 false like dead ends of games I was trying to create during the show.
Oh, okay.
And one of them was trying to find lyrics that have Cage in it.
Yeah.
And then asking you who they were. And like the one I started with obviously was
Despite All My Rage, I'm still
Beloved Butterfly Wings.
Cage.
Yeah, but then I was like, well, I mean, they don't have Cage in it, but I could do Cage the Elephant. And then I was like, well, there's a bunch of bird songs from the Beatles, but they never say Cage, and I gave up. But I love that you went down somehow this path.
I did. To be fair, it has nothing to do with song lyrics or anything like that. And actually, mainly I'm just going to be asking you some comic book type questions, which I feel is right up your alley. And you may or may not know some of these answers. But either way, they're kind of fun. So you ready?
Yes.
Okay, first one. The question's a little long. The answers are short and easy. Okay. Dr. Doom once hired Luke Cage to defeat a bunch of rogue Doombots who had disguised themselves as African-American New Yorkers. Mm-hmm. Doom skipped town without paying his fee. Luke Cage borrowed the Fantastic Four jet, flew to Latveria, and beat the shit out of Doom until he paid his fee. Question: what was the amount of the fee? It is multiple choice.
Okay.
A, $200. B, $2,000. C, $20,000. Or D, a restored 76 Cadillac.
Do you know what? Can you tell me what year the storyline happened?
No idea.
To Just for Inflation? No. All right.
That's funny,
right? Because $2,000 in 1970 something is a lot more than now.
Don't logic weasel out of this.
I'm gonna say the Cadillac.
Okay, it was $200. The Cadillac was a red herring.
I will say $200 was the last thing I would, because it just seems so minuscule,
so small.
But I was thinking 2,000.
Yeah. Okay, so it was two. All right, so you ready?
But that's like $2 million if that was 1974.
200?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how inflation works.
Yeah, I mean, you watch the debates, it's all about inflation. Our dollar's very weak.
Doing great.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's your punishment. Here's the scenario.
Okay.
All right, you are a rogue Doombot pretending to be an African-American New Yorker, and I'm Luke Cage. Okay?
Okay.
Convince me that you're not a Doombot.
Convince you that I'm not a Doombot? Mm-hmm. Can you give me
I'll start it, yeah.
Can you give me a decade, though?
Huh?
You gotta give me a decade.
Okay, fine. We're gonna say 70s. And we're on the streets of Harlem, and I'm Luke Cage, and I think that you're one of these rogue Doombots, and you have to convince me you're just a regular African-American.
Okay.
All right. Hey, something seems fishy about you.
Whatever do you mean?
I would say you seem a little bit robotic.
Robotic? Would a robot go see Sweet Sweetback's badass song?
You're damn right.
A robot would?
That's what I was saying.
Oh, well, would a robot listen to Marvin Gaye?
Damn, you might be a real African-American New Yorker. Okay, I hope that wasn't offensive.
I don't know.
It was awkward. That's
very awkward. I mean, oh man, you didn't get to the point where I was gonna accidentally bleep, blop, and blorp, and then just give myself away and wait, and then I assumed you would beat me up.
Yeah, I would have on air. We could have periscoped it.
Yeah. Well, let's take it from there then. Then I'm also into bleep, blop, blorp. Ignore that. I just have a cold.
I knew it.
Okay, and then. All right.
Bam, kathak.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. That was brilliant.
Moving on.
Okay.
Number 2. What was Luke Cage's highest level of education across all the comics he was in? Okay, so his highest level of education. Multiple choice.
Okay.
Okay. Was he a high school dropout / learned it on the streets? Was he a high school graduate? Did he have his bachelor's degree? Did he have his master's degree? Or did he have his doctorate?
I'm gonna say I think he got a master's degree in the School of Hard Knocks.
So, are you actually saying that A, learned it on the streets, high school dropout?
No.
Or are you saying he actually has a master's degree?
I'm gonna say master's degree.
Okay, no, it was the first one. I was trying to throw you a bone.
I know, but that's like
so obvious.
I just feel like to say that is like racially charged. Just for me to say like, well, of course it's the dropout, because I have no idea. I really can't think of a single. Like I read,
you got set up,
right? I've read so many comics with Luke Cage in them, like a New Avengers, this and the other, and they never talk about their education level.
Well, that's what it was. You
okay.
know, some people learn it on the streets. Some people learn it in the schools. You and me, we were just born with it, Holmes.
I guess so. All
right, you ready for your punishment?
Yeah.
All you have to do, just give like a 20-second valedictorian speech to your high school class as Luke Cage.
But I didn't graduate.
Yeah, this is you actually graduating at your school that you went to, but now you're pretending to be Luke Cage, and you have to give like a 20-second valedictorian speech.
Valedictorian speech. Okay. For 20 seconds?
Yeah, you just have to do his voice.
Do Luke Cage's voice?
Yeah.
I don't know.
20-second valedictorian speech in Luke Cage's voice. 15 seconds.
Hello, citizens of this Hello, citizens of this high school.
Deeper.
Hello, citizens of this high school. I just wanted to tell you.
Why are they citizens of the high school?
I don't know how valid. I only watch political speeches. My fellow Americans, I wanted to tell you that if you work real hard and you take jobs for at least $200, even from nefarious villains, that you'll go far in life. And it doesn't matter what kind of degree you have, because the only degree that matters is the master's degree of the School of Hard Knocks.
Okay, very good. All right,
yeah.
All right, that was good. The voice crack when you try to go really low.
I can't go that low.
Okay,
it's like vocal limbo.
Yeah,
I just broke my back.
Poor guy over here is sick, and I'm like, test the range of your vocals now.
Yeah. As long as I don't go too high up, I should be fine.
Okay, last one, and then we'll be done, okay? In the comic books, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones get married and have a child. Mm-hmm. Did you know this?
I did.
Okay.
That takes place in New Avengers.
Very, very simple. What is that child's name? Is it A, and there will be 4 choices. Is it A, Donna, B, Danielle, C, Dana, or D, they never really give an official name?
I really don't remember. I don't remember there being an official name. And I think they couldn't come up with a name. I do remember Squirrel Girl babysitted her for a while.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, okay, no name.
Okay, so you're going with D, never given an official name?
I mean, no, they had to have it this far in the game. They didn't initially. Okay. Then C. Okay,
so Dana?
Sure.
It's Danielle.
Okay.
Okay, so you ready? We'll just make it nice and quick, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, you are playing both Luke Cage and Jessica Jones in this one.
Okay.
Okay. And just get into just a very quick, light argument, 10, 15 seconds long, over what the child's name will be. And you just have to do both voices.
About what the child's name will be?
Yeah, that's it. You could even, like, one's arguing for Danielle, one's arguing for Dana.
Well, I think Dana should be the name. Well, that's stupid. I think the name should be Danielle.
Higher.
Well, that's stupid. I think the name should be Danielle. Why are you talking so high? You never sound like that. That's just because when I get upset, I get really, really high. It's like, well, you shouldn't get high now because we have kids. And that's why I think the name should be Dana, not Danielle. Well, you're stupid. You're dumb and stupid, and I'm going to name it Danielle.
All right.
It's great.
Good.
It's great.
All right.
Oh, my God. I don't understand why we're still doing podcasts and not just, like, performance theater.
Okay. All right.
We could probably both get full-time jobs at Saks Comedy Club.
Definitely not. We are not Second City material over here.
All right.
Okay, so you ready to get back to the action here?
I don't know if there's a point. I don't think anyone's still listening.
I'm sorry, okay.
Alright,
so actually this is, to me, the best scene maybe in the entire series so far. which is the Crispus Attucks storming moment.
Yeah.
Okay. So when he first walks up to the building, he grabs, I guess probably it was like an Escalade, but some SUV.
Yeah, he rips the door off.
Yeah, super cool. And then walks up and slams the door right through the opening, and then storms the halls.
Yeah, and immediately you have guys swarming him, shooting at the door, which doesn't really matter because the bullets are going through and just not hurting him, but he just knocks all the guys out with like a single blow from the door.
Yeah, he uses it like a battering ram too.
Yeah, and he's just going through and attacking everyone, and just continues. Chaos ensues. It almost reminds me of either the Judge Dredd movie, or there's this other movie I think called The Raid, where it's just like them going up to the top of a building, just going through endless amounts of enemies. It's almost like a video game.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like that, but like short form, you know? It's like 5 minutes.
I didn't see the new Judge Dredd movie. I heard it was pretty entertaining, though.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely like, leagues above the Sylvester Stallone one. I am the law.
That was pretty good.
Right?
Yeah, that was not bad. But I just love this scene because it's just it just gives you what you want, just gratuitous violence, and he's knocking people out of the way left and right.
But he never kills anyone.
He doesn't. At one point, he takes the car door and wraps it around a guy, throws the guy down a stairwell where he smashes into a bunch of other people like he's a log rolling down.
Yeah.
And then so he has no more weapons. So instead, he punches through a wall, grabs a pipe out where like steam starts hissing and pouring out of the wall, and he just starts beating
nailing people
with
it. Yeah.
And then I love the scene where like there's like probably 20 guys running down the hallway. They surround him in this not that large of a room, and he just starts whirling around and beating him up, and throws actually pitches up a couch at one point and starts smashing the couch against all of them, and then throws the couch out through a window.
Which is what we saw in the very first scene where an episode you're like, okay, a couch got involved somehow, but no people are on it.
And then he finds the room full of cash, and it is just filled with, probably 50 duffel bags that are stuffed with cash.
Yeah.
And he only takes one though, but I guess what we're finding out, and from all the other places that he knocked over, he's leaving the majority, if not all of the cash, for the police to just go ahead and seize
confiscate.
it.
Yeah,
because that hurts them even more, and it's not his aim to profit necessarily off of this. But he does take a bag for this, which is what he is going to use, I guess, to purchase Pops.
Yeah, so you see him later go to back to the barbershop, and do we have a name for that character?
I don't know his name.
The guy that's been playing chess since the beginning of the series.
And he casually mentioned something about doing the financials for Pops.
Yeah. I forgot about that. But he, comes in and he sees Luke Cage, who's just riddled with bullet holes in his hoodie. He's like, "What did you get run over by a bus?" He's like, "Something like that." And he throws the duffel bag in his lap. He opens it up, and it's just insane amounts of cash.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What have you been up to?" Kind of concerned, to which he said, "It doesn't matter. What matters is that we're going to get Pops back off the ground, and you're going to kind of head the charge or whatnot."
Yeah, and they have a stroll down memory lane talking about Pops and his attention to detail. The reason the guy was sitting here sleeping was because he just couldn't bring himself to go home and leave the place in disarray. So he'd been there fixing it up and cleaning all day and stuff like that.
Yeah, and at one point he makes a comment about when he hired him, he had, Pop said he had to do windows. And
everybody does windows.
Yeah. He had a lot of pride in the Pop logo, the POP out there. That was
gold plated.
Yeah, that was always being shined. And the other gentleman also says, "Don't ask questions. Don't break any laws or whatever about the money." So he's willing to take it on. But that's kind of like the one good deed that Luke does that's essentially breaking the law that isn't, the breaking and entering, all the other stuff, but essentially it's just a gang war. Like, they're just as much at war as, and breaking the law as he is.
Absolutely, yeah. What he's doing is not really above board here. In fact, the guy even says, do I want to know where this money's coming from?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But,
yeah, ask no questions, tell no lies. That was the phrase.
Yes. So the other thing that happens here is Misty Knight seems to be watching him when he exited the building, the Crispus Attucks building after he stormed it. But it's really just that sort of
VR looking. Yeah,
where she's sort of transported herself to the scene of the crime while she's looking at the photos up on her corkboard. And then she has what seems like a relatively lighthearted exchange at first with her partner, Detective Scarf.
Mm-hmm.
And
every time I hear you say that, I think of Snarf.
Snarf?
From, what was it?
Thundercats?
Thundercats, yeah.
Oh!
All right. Anyway, we can move on. I had to get that out of my system.
So cool. But so they start talking about like he is of the mind that somebody should give this dude a medal. Like I like that there is somebody out there doing this vigilante stuff. Like if it keeps me away from the action where people are getting shot and bullets are flying. Like, do you see all the casings on the floor of this place?
We can just mop up the blood.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'd rather be like sitting here. Rather than be in there with the bullets flying. So let the guy do it as far as I'm concerned. And she's like, let the guy do your job for you. And he's like, fuck yeah, let him do my job for me.
And she's like, that just makes the system chaos, And then it's, essentially her argument's that, Vigilante may do some good work, but ultimately, like, is he really doing good work? Is it just a gang war?
Well, and they have no system of accountability by doing it that way. Like, there are rules and regulations. And then Scarf's like, well, he doesn't have to abide by the rules and regulations, which allows him to get things done that we would be completely, handcuffed to.
Yes.
And then that's when he gets the call from Tito.
Yeah, so it's obvious.
It's not Tito.
That was Chico. I was like, who's Tito? Anyway, he ggets the call from Chico. He goes to meet with Chico. Chico's finally ready to talk. And you realize that what he was saying in the last scene about, like, the accountability doesn't matter as long as the job gets done. He really takes that to heart in his own life. Because he chokes out and kills Chico.
He does, yeah. It was a pretty crazy moment.
Yeah, because he's been on the up and up. There's been no insinuations whatsoever that he's been crooked.
I only started feeling like that was going to happen like 3 or 4 seconds before it did. Because the music is like, Chico started to give this whole speech about, what pop meant and, what he spoke for and always move forward and all this stuff. And the music's kind of like this almost like cheesy, uplifting sort of music, and it just seemed too good to be true. You know what I mean? Like the moment itself was too overdone. There's no way that they would just leave it sitting there. I actually wasn't necessarily thinking that he was going to choke him out. I thought like a bullet was going to come
something bad was going to happen.
Else.
It was also weird that they just did it in such like a remote location. Like
he would have met him there.
Yeah,
but I mean, people were looking for Chico. It makes sense that they'd want to keep him off the grid.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So, so he kills him, and then he drives him in his trunk to Cottonmouth.
Yeah, so then we get to see Cottonmouth just destroying. He's taking a pipe and just smashing stuff in his club because he's just pissed about what's going on and all the money being confiscated. He's yelling that all his money that he's worked for is gone. And his cousin is saying, like, you need to calm down. Like, we can always make more money. That's not a big deal. We just need to, like, get our shit together and come up with a plan and deal with this.
Yeah, but she's pissed, too, that this happened at her building, the Crispus Attics. But she's like, you can always get more money. I can't get a new name.
Yeah. So, she's not pleased either, but I think she's trying to make cooler heads prevail because he's pretty upset at this point.
Yeah.
But then one of his men come in and point out that the detectives arrived, and he walks out to the bar. Scarf has, made himself comfortable. He's having a drink. His legs are kicked up. And he lets him know that he has Chico, dead in the back of his trunk. And he's yours.
And I know who's been knocking over your buildings.
Yes. So obviously he's keen to hear who it was.
Yeah, and he tells him right then.
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, yep. He's like, I even have his home address. And then...
by going through Misty Knight's phone.
Yeah, and that's when Cottonmouth calls him Virginia Slim.
Yeah, for being a slim bitch.
Yeah, and then so he's like, I'm gonna go pay him a visit myself. And then so the next scene is Luke Cage having dinner at Genghis Khan's.
Yes.
And he's sitting, right over next to the window, and she's sitting next to him. He gives her money that he's owed her, probably back pay on rent.
And he's also ate a tremendous amount of food. And she's like, man, you don't normally eat this much. Well, I worked up an appetite today.
Yeah, running, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but he hands her a wad of money. He's like, it doesn't matter where the money came from. It's what you do with it. So you get the idea that there's probably some back pay, but it's also probably more than that. Just like a sizable sum to make their lives easier. And she hugs him. It's a nice little tender moment, and it lasts forever.
Nope. Yeah, every time there's a nice moment, you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, because now you get the Kill Bill like bride alert music. It's not the exact music, but it's something similar with this kind of customized soundtrack that continues to be awesome.
It's very cool.
And now you have Cottonmouth looking at Genghis Khan's with a fucking RPG.
Yeah.
And just aims in and shoots.
Yep. And then at the very last second, Luke Cage looks over and sees it, but there's no time. I mean, the flame is going to definitely take out Connie, she's dead, right?
I can't imagine her not being dead.
If she's not dead, that's silly.
Or she has just like covered in 3rd-degree burns. Like,
even
like
if he's so close to the blast. You know what I mean? Because it's coming right through the window, right at Luke Cage from the angle you can see, and she's right there. So, like, if she was at the back of the building, I could understand her being burned to a crisp, but maybe alive. But where she's at, the impact of the blast would just, I feel like, literally on a cellular level, like
I imagine she's likely dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're on the same page.
We will see, but I think she's pretty dead.
Okay.
And I thought he was actually saying Sweet Christmas, which I didn't think was appropriate to have his silly catchphrase come out like when she's dying.
Yeah.
But he said Sweet Sister.
Sweet Sister.
Which...
That was a
Sweet Sister.
It was just a little disappointing
My man.
that they would take his best catchphrase, "Sweet Christmas," and interject it, bastardize it, and then throw it into this moment. And we were actually so confused on whether it was "Sweet Sister" or "Sweet Christmas" that we rewound it several times and listened, and then finally we're just like, okay, put on the subtitles.
Yeah,
and it's definitely "Sweet Sister."
I don't think we would have been satisfied either way. It would have been weird if he said "Sweet Christmas" then too.
Yeah,
but "Sweet Sister." Right? See, that's why this is the weakest episode.
Okay. But it was a good episode.
It wasn't bad at all.
I still enjoyed it. Like, the Crispus Attic scene was awesome.
Yes.
And just in general, I did enjoy it. But yeah, it was a good one, and I'm really looking forward to episode 4. But I guess just a couple last-minute things. We are live tweeting the whole thing, so again, that's at Boob Tube Buddies. Just send us a tweet. We'll make sure whatever it is gets up on air, whether it's a question or a comment. And you can always follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Reddit, or just email us at boobtubebuddies@gmail.com. Mothman, you want to go ahead and put a bow on this bitch?
We'll see you in an hour and a half, little buddies.